There was a distribution event of legendary dogs Entei, Raikou, and Suicune in their shiny forms back in 2011 for Pokemon HeartGold and SoulSilver. This was during a Wi-Fi event, and if you received these, then you can trade them over to Black and White version, and this would unlock the Zoroark event in that game. A pretty awesome kind of collaboration between those two. If you go back to Olivine City after having defeated Jasmine in her rematch, so you'll be spending mostly her time in her gym, besides the times of 1 PM and 2 PM of a time frame. But when she is there, she will ask you to trade with her and she will offer you a Steelix, but she won't ask for any particular Pokemon in exchange, so you can give her any Pokemon in return for a Steelix with a Soothbell on it. On Mondays between 8 PM to midnight, you can go to Mount Moon and find a group of Clefairy dancing in the moonlight, and after they finish dancing and you finish watching them dance, one of them will leave a Moonstone behind for you to take. The ruins of Alph are a strange place where you can enter the ruins. There are multiple puzzles there. At the back of each chamber there is an unknown text which gives you hints to what you need to do. And also the cave has a total of 26 unknowns for you to capture, but not just that, there are a few areas that are locked behind certain spots where you can't get them, so you'll have to do the puzzles first. Now for the puzzles, in the upper right chamber you need to get an escape rope and this will unlock it. For the lower right chamber you need to use Flash, and the upper left chamber you need to have Ho-Oh in the front of your party, and the lower left, it requires you to have a water stone in your inventory for it to be unlocked. So once you've captured all the regular 26 unknowns, you have another area that will open up at the main entrance after you talk to the researcher there. This place contains the question mark and the exclamation mark unknowns, and once you capture all of these, you can complete your report decks and also complete the unknown side quest as a whole. And the unknown reports are actually really strange and interesting if you want to look into those. So the Pikachu colored Pichu is a strange case. First of all, there used to be this white Pichu concept art before the games of HeartGold SoulSilver actually came out, and they directly hinted at a white Pichu. However, that never ended up happening and this whole concept was dropped. However, this thing never ended up in the final game, but we did get something else, which was the Pikachu colored Pichu, which was an event Pokemon. So first of all, you need to get a Pikachu colored Pichu, first of all, which is from an event that you could get previously. You then transfer this one to HeartGold and SoulSilver, and when you reach the Ilex Forest with this Pikachu, a Pichu will appear. And if you have your Pikachu at the front of your party, this will happen. Now, this Pichu will then play with your Pikachu, and they will join your party. If you pre-ordered Pokemon HeartGold and SoulSilver, you could receive a Ho-Oh figure for HeartGold and a Lugia one for SoulSilver. And they even had a Arceus figure for the Japanese pre-orders of both HeartGold and SoulSilver. These are extremely rare today to actually find. So we already spoke a bit about the Pikachu colored Pichu, but if you actually received it, there are a few more things that can happen. You can actually get a spiky eared Pichu, Pichu that actually has ears that are spiky. So to do this, first you need to have the previously mentioned Pichu that is colored like a Pikachu, and then go to the Ilex Forest, and all of a sudden, if you have it at the front of your party, a spiky eared Pichu will appear. This event was over time sort of lost, but it is a great little event which I think is really awesome. Now if you bring this spiky eared Pichu that you receive at this point to Professor Elm, he will give you some backstory behind this Pichu and will actually bring up Celebi's time travel and mention and kind of figure out that the spiky-eared Pichu proves his theory of time travel, being that it is from the future or the past. I'm not really sure, but I think it's most likely from the future. And because of this, it cannot be traded to anyone. You can literally not trade this Pokemon. It's stuck in your game forever. The beta version sprite of Silver actually looked quite a bit different and sort of emulated Giovanni's look and Team Rocket's vibe a little bit more than the final version did, in my opinion. The Celebi event in Pokemon HeartGold and SoulSilver is one of the best events ever made, and it's unfortunate that many can't even experience it. For this event, you needed to get a special event Celebi, and it would then activate a special bit of backstory. It would unlock the Rocket System story. When Celebi is taken to the Ilex Forest and interacts with the shrine, Lyra or Ethan will show up, and both of you will be sent and thrown back in time by Celebi. You will first be sent 3 years into the past, where you are on Route 22, and something is happening. You're witnessing your rival Silver arguing with his father, that being Giovanni, who's mocking him for wanting to partake in some of the weird stuff with Team Rocket, and basically Silver is complaining about it. So after that, they both split up, and at this point, this gives you context for Silver's hatred for his father as well as Team Rocket. We are then sent 3 years into the future, where we are in a cave in Johto, a strange cave, and here we find Giovanni, who's getting messages for him to reappear by the members of Team Rocket, who still want him to return. He notices you and is excited to go and join his Team Rocket fellows, but first he battles you, and after you defeat him here, he mentions that you remind him of a similar kid that ended his plans with Team Rocket 3 years prior, that most likely being Trainer Red. After this, you are sent back to your present time by Celebi, and this pretty much stops Giovanni from rejoining Team Rocket again in that time. Shiny leaves, these are rare items that can only be seen on the status screen of your Pokemon. They're difficult to find, but to get them you need to walk around with your Pokemon, interact with your Pokemon in different grass and different routes. And there's specific details for every single Pokemon for this with different natures. But if you get one of these shiny leaves, you can then go to your hometown and talk to Lyra or Ethan, and you'll be told that if you find 5 of these shiny leaves, something will happen. Now, once you have 5 of them and you show the Pokemon and talk to Lyra or Ethan, again, they will reward you with a star on your trainer card, but also they will turn your 5 leaves into a crown for your Pokemon, basically making your Pokemon to a king and queen. Your trainer card in the game has different colors. This all depends on how many stars you have received. We already mentioned one of these stars that you can get for completing the shiny leaves quest specifically, but there is more. First of all, you start with a red trainer card when you have 0 stars, but then if you actually want to get a blue one, you will need to defeat the Elite Four or do any of these other quests in any order, but this will give you the blue one, and this is for 1 star. For 2 stars, it will be green, and for this, you just need to collect 5 shiny leaves, as already mentioned, on one of your Pokemon, and then speak to Lyra or Ethan in New Town. For the next one, you need to defeat the record of all the 10 Pokeathlon events for 3 stars, and this will give you the pink color, and for 4 stars, you need to get, the silver color, and for this, you need to get a 100 streak in the battle towers, a 100 win streak. And for the black trainer card, which is the final one, you can complete the national dex and capture all the Pokemon. And this will give you that color, which I think is the best one, and is the one for the 5 stars. You could receive a special Scizor if you were in the Japanese event during 2010 for the promotion of the new Zoroark movie. So you could get a free Scizor that was level 55 or so, and was pretty awesome. This same movie event actually included a way for you to get Ash's Pikachu as well at level 50. Manaphy was also given away in Japan once more. This was also during one of their events. In this case, it wasn't specifically a movie event, but it was another one of these event giveaways, which are not available anymore. You're able to actually receive Latios and Latias in these games as well. Now for this, you need the Enigma Stone, which comes from a Wi-Fi event that you can take part of, and then once you have this event item, which again is not really available anymore, you can head to Pewter City Museum, at which point you can meet Steven Stone, yes, the champion of Ruby and Sapphire. He will tell you about it, and you will then learn that this is the legendary Soul Dew item, and once you've then left the museum, Steven will stop you, and all of a sudden, a Latios or Latias, depending on which version of the games you guys have, whether that's HeartGold or SoulSilver, will appear and you can challenge them and capture them. Did you guys know that the Sneasel that your rival Silver uses is actually a stolen one? Yeah, he took it from a dude in Cyanwood City who said it was a rare Sneasel, and that apparently some kid with red hair had actually stolen it from him. It is later proven that Silver actually did change and become a better person because, well, Sneasel is still in his team because he was going to go back and return his starter Pokemon, but he got to keep it, but also most likely was going to return his Sneasel, but he ended up getting to keep it because of, well, being a better partner with this Pokemon. But this is not the only one. We also know this, that he's actually a better and more kind trainer because his Golbat has evolved into a Crobat, which is only possible if Golbat has max happiness. After you complete the game, your rival will actually start appearing at the Indigo Plateau to battle you twice a week. This is a good way for you to actually gain some levels and do some grinding. If you enjoy training, you can also go to the trainer house in Viridian City, and here you can battle trainers, specifically this Ace trainer who will reward you with 1 battle point or 1 BP for each victory, which is super good if you want to get certain really rare items. Did you guys know that HeartGold and SoulSilver are the only pair of games that have all the previous paired game champions appearing in them? So you've got Blue from Red and Green, you got Lance from Gold and Silver, Steven Stone from Ruby and Sapphire, and finally Cynthia from Diamond and Pearl. The game features the question mark type Arceus. Now this is a weird file in the data of these games that never actually was used, but it's a question mark type that was never really defined, and Arceus has it. This was later on removed in Black and White, but first originated in Diamond Pearl, but it also existed in HeartGold and SoulSilver. There are actually 2 unobtainable shiny Pokemon in the data of these games. The first one is Shiny Arceus, which is golden colored and looks amazing. The other is Spiky-Aired Pichu, which we talked about previously, which has a shiny palette for it, but it again is not obtainable in any sort of way. It's unobtainable totally, unless you cheated into the game. So there's this weird thing. There is a Head Smash Nose Pass in these games that can learn Head Smash as a egg move, which is nothing strange, right? But the problem is, it's only available through as egg move. But the problem is, you can't breed Nosepass with any Pokemon that can learn Head Smash, which is really funny because every Pokemon can pretty much learn Head Smash, so it makes it impossible to actually get this move on Nosepass. This was discovered in recent years, but there is a way to softlock yourself in the games, which many people have already known about. This is by basically getting stuck and having only, well, no Pokemon that can surf in Cyanwood City. Without any Pokemon on your team, no money, no nothing, you can literally not escape. However, there is a way to avoid this problem, as there is an NPC that will give you free Tentacle, and this is actually there so that you can not get softlock. You're allowed to then teach Surf, because you will have Surf at this point, and give that to Tentacle to be able to progress further. And it is impossible to not be able to escape Cyanwood at this point, because you can receive multiple unlimited amounts of these Tentacle at any given time. So there was actually a different version of the Sage sprite in the Korean versions of these games. The sprite for this has been altered for religious reasons. As you can tell, the prayer beads have been removed and the colors have been changed a bit, and they are no longer called Sage. They're actually either referred to as Monk or Ascetic, which is another word. There is a ribbon called the World Ability Ribbon, which would have been given to players that completed the Wi-Fi Battle Tower Challenge. However, this was never properly implemented, and you can't actually access it or receive it in any way or shape. If you have Rotom in Pokemon HeartGold and SoulSilver, you can take it to the Silphco building, and if you have it in front of your party, you can use the elevator, and once you go in there, the Rotom will power it and take you to the top floor. Once you enter the room here, there will be different items for Rotom to interact with, and it can change into all of its different forms by doing this. If you transfer a Deoxys to HeartGold and SoulSilver, you can take it to Route 3, and you can find a patch area where basically there are loads of meteorites. If you interact with them, your Deoxys will turn into many different forms, such as the attack form, defense form, speed form, and even its regular normal form as well. If you by any chance have a Shaman in HeartGold and SoulSilver, then you can transform it into Shaman Sky by going to the Goldenrod Flower Shop. Here, first of all, you would need to have a Shaman that was obtained from the events between 2008 and 2009, and if you interact with the character here, she will then give you an item that can change your Shaman's form into Shaman Sky. You can find the SS Aqua Boat actually docked in either Vermilion City or Olivine City, where you travel between the two cities. Now, to access this, you need to have the SS ticket, and then depending on what day you are playing the games, the boats will be in either one of the locations or the other locations, and they'll be making trips between the two. And if you enter it, you can battle different trainers depending on the day and depending on which direction you're going, which is really awesome. Did you know that you can catch Lugia and Ho-Oh in both games? So in SoulSilver, for you to catch Ho-Oh, you need to go to the Bell Tower after getting the Rainbow Wing from a person in Pewter City. And for HeartGold version, to get a Lugia, you need to go to Whirl Island after getting the Silver Feather from the same person in Pewter City. You can find a lonely overworld roaming Lapras in the Union Cave basement. It only appears on Fridays, and you can basically just use Surf to get to it and capture it after beating Morty. There is an unused photo album item in the data for HeartGold and SoulSilver. It comes with some text that says, "A nice photo album for storing all the photos taken along your adventure." This is an item that was actually scrapped, and they instead just made you put your photos in your PC for storing instead. Togepi is the first gift Pokemon you can receive in these games, and this is after you beat Faulkner at the Violet City Gym. You will get a call from Elm saying you should visit the Pokemart, and there'll be a man there that will give you a free Togepi at this point. But there is also another gift, which is in Violet City, where you can do an event that requires you to give a special secret code, which will then have different options for what you might receive. Now, this all depends on your unique trainer ID, so depending on what you have there, you can get one of these following 3 Pokemon, which is either a Mareep, a Wooper, or a Slugma. All of these will be, of course, level 5, and they'll be in eggs. If you want more exclusive Pokemon like this, then you might want some from Hoenn and Sinnoh. Well, for this, you need to make sure that you played on specific days and that you had the Hoenn radio set or the, well, Sinnoh radio set. So all you need to do for this is to go to your Pokegear radio and go onto the Pokemon March station during Wednesdays, and this is for Hoenn specifically. During this time, you'll then be listening to the Hoenn sound show, and during this period, you can walk into grass and you will run into Hoenn Pokemon in the wild. And for the Sinnoh Pokemon, you would do the same exact thing, only difference is that this will be specifically during Thursdays, and then Sinnoh Pokemon would show up, and you would have to go to the same channel, the Pokemarch channel, and you will hear the Sinnoh sound. And then you can find Pokemon such as Shinx, Bidoof, and Weasel, and more. So you guys might remember that the Pokewalker was a device that was included with all versions of HeartGold and SoulSilver, and was a cute little device that kind of allowed you to transfer Pokemon into it from HeartGold and SoulSilver to walk around with in real life, kind of like an early version of Pokemon Go. Still, certain Pokemon were actually exclusive to the Pokewalker, and these are the following ones: Skitty, Delcatty, Carvanha, Sharpedo, Wailmer, Wailord, Phoebus, Melodic, Castform, Kecleon, Tropius, Snorunt, Glalie, Shellos, Gastrodon, Spiritomb, Finneon, Lumineon, and Snover, Abomasnow, and of course Frostlass. These Pokemon could only be captured while you were raising other Pokemon in the Pokewalker and using it, so kind of interesting. During 2009, there was a free Jirachi giveaway event, and if you received this one, you could unlock a special Night Sky Edge Pokewalker course for your Pokewalker, and this would then unlock for you to receive many other different items and even Pokemon if you did this. So at the start of the video, we mentioned that you can catch the legendary beasts, or actually receive them for free by doing one of the, online Wi-Fi events, and they would be in their shiny forms. However, you can also get regular legendary beasts as roaming legendaries in the regular forms simply by actually playing the game. So Raikou is the first one which you will find, and it will be found at the Brass Tower, and it will then start roaming around and can be encountered. Next is Entei at the basement of the Brass Tower that will also get roaming, and once you have those two, well, that leads us to the next one. So you might now wonder, well, where is Suicune is the third one? Well, it works a bit differently because it doesn't roam in Johto. Instead, you can find it in a singular space, but to get it, you kind of have to do a few certain things first. First, you need to chase it around a little bit. It will stop in different spots. So first, you will find it in Cyanwood City. Then you can find it at Mount Mortar, and then you can go to Kanto, because it will no longer be in Johto, and you'll find it in Vermilion City. Later on, you'll find it on Route 14, and finally, it will be outside Bill's house on Route 25, after Misty returns to her gym there, after you've kind of done your stuff. So, you can then battle it and capture it, and then you are done. But if you don't capture it, then don't worry, it will actually reappear at the Burn Tower when you have beaten the Elite Four. Did you guys know that Sudowoodo is only obtainable in one location in these games, and it is at the first moment where you ever see it, which is on Route 36. You are only able to receive one, so you gotta capture this one or you will not have a Sudowoodo on your team. You can catch the Weather Trio from Hoenn in these games. Now, to catch them, you can catch Groudon and Kyogre first, but to do this, you have to have completed the game first and need to obtain the Blue Orb or the Red Orb. So the Blue Orb for HeartGold and the Red Orb for SoulSilver. Now, these orbs can be found at Mr. Pokemon's place and are only available after the National Pokedex has been received and the Kanto starters have been received from Professor Oak, aka, well, you can pretty much get them for free from Oak in Pallet Town after you've gotten to Kanto. So, next up, once you talk to Mr. Pokemon, he will give you one of the orbs depending on your version game, and you can now go and catch Kyogre or Groudon. And once you've actually caught them, if you do trade one of those to your friend, or your friend trades you one as well, vice versa, from the other game, and you have both of them in your own game, you can then encounter Rayquaza, but first you gotta get the Jade Orb. This one you receive from Professor Oak after showing him the Groudon and the Kyogre. He will then give that to you, at which point you can take the Jade Orb with you and go to the Embedded Tower and catch a level 50 Rayquaza. But that's not all, you can also capture the legendary birds from Kanto as well. These will be over in Kanto, but unlike in Gold and Silver, they will be a little bit different maybe to capture somewhat. So here's the first thing, right? You can find Articuno over at its usual spot. In this case, it will be found deep within the Seafoam Islands. On the other hand, Zapdos will again be found over at the electric plant, the power plant in Route 10 of Kanto. And of course, you also have Moltres. This guy is going to be, however, a little bit different as he is in a completely different place in these games. He can be found in the Silver Cave. So yes, it is a bit different. And for you to actually be able to capture it, you have to first earn all the 16 badges. And this goes for all the legendary birds in this case. Now, if catching the Weather Trio and the legendary birds isn't enough, well, you are in luck. You can also get yourself these Sinnoh legendaries in these games. However, this all depends on a very specific thing, which is if you have your hands on a 12th anniversary movie Arceus, which was a special distribution Pokemon. Now, if you have it, then you can unlock the catchable versions of Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina in this game. You can find them in these Sinjoh Ruins, which are a special area that's kind of difficult to find. But if you find the Sinjoh Ruins, you will encounter Cynthia there, who will tell you about Arceus and the Sinnoh Legends. Then you have the option to, well, quite literally create one of the 3 legendaries on the altar in this game. Once you pick one, well, a weird event will actually play, a real world images will play, and you will then get access to the Pokemon you chose to create. Now, this will be at level 1 only, so it's a very weak Pokemon. But if you have an Arceus that you obtained also from the Hall of Origin in the Sinnoh games and transfer it over to these games, you can do this event twice. You can receive whatever you want in this case, either a Dialga, Palkia, Giratina, and get 2 of them if you have all these event arceuses. For the 10th anniversary of Pokemon, you could get a gifted Mew, which would be leveled at level 5 and wouldn't actually have any special moves, but it would have the Premier Ribbon on it, which was the first Pokemon with that ribbon. You can also find Mewtwo in these games as well. Now, this version is similar to that of the Fire Red and Leaf Green one, and to get it, you need to have all the Kanto badges in the game, and you will then get access to the Cerulean Cave. And deep inside, you can find a Mewtwo at level 70, so either bring a Master Ball or a lot of Ultra Balls. So, once you've defeated all the gym leaders in the game, you can once a week go to the Saffron City Fighting Dojo and find all the gym leaders there. You can call them up, and they will actually stay there until you go and battle them. And there is also an event exclusive thingy for each one of these gym leaders. So, for example, Faulkner is the first one. He'll be missing from his gym on Mondays, and to find him, just go to Celadon City and enter the massive department store and go to the 4th floor, and you'll see him there with Janine, and by talking to him there, he'll give you his phone number, and then you can call him to go to the dojo. Bugsy will be missing during Thursdays and can be found in the Viridian Forest. Whitney is missing in afternoons and is found at the Goldenrod department store on the 6th floor. Morty is missing on Mondays and he is found outside the Bell Tower. Chuck is always at his gym and he never leaves it as he just enjoys the non-stop training, so just go there and outside you'll find his wife who will give you his number to you. Jasmine is usually missing from her gym in the afternoons and can be found in the Olivine dining room sitting by the desk. Price is missing in the morning and can be found at the Lake of Rage by surfing to the west to a little patch of land. You can find Claire in the Dragon's Den by the water. Brock is found at the Diglett Cave. Misty is found at Route 25 specifically. Lieutenant Surge is found outside the power plant after you capture Zapdos in this case. Erica can be found at the Celadon City Fountain talking to Jasmine in this case about the Sinnoh Super Contest. Janine is found at the reception gate at the Victory Road and actually multiple different routes. Sabrina can be found at the Olivine City Harbor on Friday nights. Blaine is on Cinnabar Island looking for his old city that's long gone at this point. And finally, you have Blue, the 16th gym leader in this game, and he can be usually found in his gym, but he will not give you his actual phone number. However, if you go and talk to his sister in Pallet Town, she will, look at your Pokemon and see them being full of happiness. And if you interact with his sister Daisy Oak, she will massage your Pokemon 5 times, and then she will give you his number. At this point, once you have it, you can then go and call him, and you can actually call, pretty much any of them at this point if you've done all these little events, and you can go and battle them in the Fighting Dojo. Those are the facts for this video. If we missed any, let us know in the comments down below. I'll see you next time.